You think you were looking for love, but what you were really searching for was a place where you could finally feel safe. And before you rush to the comments to defend love at all costs, let me ask you something. When was the last time you loved someone without also feeling afraid at the same time? Afraid they'd disappear? Afraid you were too much? Afraid they'd leave right after you let your guard down? The truth is, most people aren't chasing love anymore. They're chasing relief. Relief from the constant emotional noise no one else can hear. You wanted to stop that tight feeling in your chest when a message takes too long. You wanted to stop second-guessing yourself every time you care a little too much. You wanted to wake up and not have to decode someone's mood like it's a puzzle. But they told you that this was love, that pushing through pain was proof of loyalty, that obsessing meant passion, that emotional chaos was just part of the package. It's not love. It's your nervous system stuck in survival mode. Studies show the brain reacts to rejection the same way it reacts to physical pain. So when love feels like anxiety, it's not just in your head. While everyone else is posting perfect dinners and sunset getaways on social media, all you ever wanted was to exhale next to someone who feels like home. That's why you're here. Because deep down, you're starting to realize maybe the love you learned to accept never actually made you feel safe. And in this video, you're going to see why so many people feel lonely, even in relationships that look like love from the outside. The body on high alert. Even when you're being held. You were told love was supposed to calm you down. That when someone holds you close, the anxiety is supposed to fade. That sleeping next to someone means safety. But what if it doesn't? What if their arms are around you, and your body is still bracing for impact? You smile. You say all the right things. But inside, you're scanning for the next emotional threat. You want to believe it's love. But your body? It's on defense. You're lying there thinking, will this be the night he pulls away? Did I say something wrong earlier? Why do I still feel alone when I'm not? And the scariest part? You start blaming yourself for that feeling. But this isn't just overthinking. This is your nervous system reacting to emotional confusion. Love without emotional safety keeps your body in survival mode. And that mode is exhausting. It's like sleeping with one eye open. Your body never fully relaxes, even in the quiet moments. He says everything's fine, but your gut says something's off. You've been here before, where things look calm right before the storm hits. That's not paranoia, that's conditioning. Science backs it up. Research shows that 47% of adults display anxious attachment patterns, and 26% fall on the avoidant spectrum. In simple terms, more than half of us don't actually know what secure love feels like. So no, you're not broken, you're not too much, you're not crazy, you're just exhausted from carrying love like a weight instead of receiving it as rest. And if any part of you felt seen just now, hit that subscribe button. Seriously, don't wait. This space is for people like you who want real answers, not just surface-level advice. Send this video to someone who acts like they're fine, but you know they're carrying too much in silence. The confusion between wanting and feeling safe. Some people didn't walk into your life as love, they showed up as relief. He wasn't everything you ever dreamed of, but he was calm. And at that moment, calm felt like heaven. You weren't looking for fireworks. You just wanted a break. A break from being the one who always holds it together. A break from the noise in your own head. And that's where the confusion begins. When someone gives you a tiny bit of emotional steadiness, your nervous system calls it love. But it wasn't love. It was a moment of relief. A breath you didn't know you'd been holding. You didn't fall in love. You felt protected. For a moment. And in that moment, your body said, maybe this is it. Maybe I can finally rest. But what felt like shelter quickly turned into another emotional storm. Maybe there were fewer fights, fewer raised voices, but the same silence that makes you question everything. The same uncertainty, the same emotional distance dressed up as maturity. We're wired to mistake comfort for connection, physical presence for emotional intimacy, calm behavior for consistent care. But there's a massive difference between feeling wanted and feeling safe, between someone choosing you on a Friday night and respecting you on a Tuesday morning. And when your past relationships were full of chaos, even the smallest glimpse of normal starts to look like love. That's not romance, that's survival. You crave security so badly that the bar for love gets lower and lower, until one good morning text feels like commitment, until not being ghosted feels like connection. But here's the truth. What you miss isn't the person. You miss the emotional hit you felt when they made you feel temporarily safe. That high, that exhale, that rush of I matter. It's not about them. It's about what your body thought they gave you. You're not chasing love. You're chasing the version of yourself that didn't feel afraid when they were around. The loneliness of explaining yourself over and over. You try to talk. You try to explain what's going on inside. Not to complain, just to be understood. But he doesn't get it. Or worse, he thinks you're being dramatic. He says you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much. So you start translating your feelings into something softer, easier to digest, more reasonable. You put your pain into simpler language, hoping he'll care this time. But even that feels like too much. And eventually, you stop. You stop opening up. You stop asking to be heard. You stop bringing things up. Not because you don't care, but because trying has become more exhausting than staying silent. And it hits you. You're not in a relationship. You're in an emotional echo chamber. You say something real, and all you get back is empty space. Or worse, defense. Being with someone who doesn't understand your pain feels like trying to breathe underwater. And little by little, that relationship becomes a minefield. You tiptoe around words. You hold back your truth. You choose peace over honesty. Every time. You smile at work, crack jokes with your friends. But deep down, there's a part of you screaming, just hear me. Just see me. You're not asking for perfection. You're asking for basic emotional safety. And this is the truth that hurts. You didn't stop talking because you stopped loving. You stopped because every conversation started to feel like war. You're not cold. You're worn down. He says, you've changed. But he has no idea how much you fought to keep showing up, until it started breaking you. You stopped speaking, not because you stopped caring, but because it became too heavy to keep explaining yourself. How the nervous system sabotages healthy relationships. He's kind. He texts back. He's respectful. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't disappear. He doesn't make you feel crazy. And yet, you're anxious, still checking your phone, still overanalyzing his tone, still waiting for the moment it all goes south. The message comes in, and instead of relief, you tense up. You read it once, twice, and suddenly your mind is racing. Did I say too much? Should I have waited longer to respond? Is he pulling away already? Even when everything looks good, your body doesn't feel safe. That's when it hits you. Am I the problem? But no, this isn't you being needy. This is your nervous system remembering what chaos feels like. It's your body bracing for pain, even when none is present. Because when love has always come wrapped in fear, even kindness feels suspicious. You've been trained, by past wounds, to not trust calm, to expect the rug to be pulled at any moment. So you stay guarded, even when things feel good. That's not dysfunction, that's protection. See, your brain has linked love with danger. And now, anything too peaceful feels unsafe. Because peace never lasted before. So why would it now? You're not hard to love. You're just stuck in a loop your body thinks is safety. And it gets deeper. Studies show 68% of people check their phone within 5 minutes after an emotional argument. Not because they want resolution, but because they're trying to regulate. Trying to feel okay again. Trying to make sure the connection is still intact. That's not desperation. That's survival. You don't want attention. You want emotional regulation. You want out of the roller coaster. Out of the guessing games. Out of the hypervigilance that's draining the joy out of your life. And here's the hard truth. Even the healthiest relationship will feel unsafe if your body hasn't experienced emotional safety before. It's not that you don't trust them, it's that your system doesn't yet know how to trust peace. The false power of acting like you don't care. You've mastered the art of being unbothered. You don't double text. You don't chase. You say you're just busy. You leave people on read. You smile in your stories. You pretend you didn't notice the silence. But the truth? You noticed, and it stung. You're not cold. You're just tired of being hurt. Tired of being the one who always feels more. Tired of opening up and getting met with confusion. Or worse, nothing at all. So you shut it down. Not because you don't feel, but because feeling started to feel dangerous. You used to show your emotions. Now you protect them like state secrets. You're not faking. You're surviving. You learned that showing too much meant getting burned, so you started holding it all in. Polished, composed, untouchable. And on the outside, you look strong. You look like you don't care. You look like you've moved on. But inside, you miss being felt. You miss being known without having to explain everything. You miss being emotionally safe enough to be messy sometimes. See, pretending you don't care doesn't make the feelings go away. It just makes them harder to access, harder to share, harder to connect. Self-control isn't healing. It's a cage that looks like strength. You're not emotionally unavailable, you're emotionally overextended. Because when you've been disappointed enough times, the safest move feels like detachment. But here's the truth. You don't want to be untouchable. You just want to be held, without fear of being dropped. The invisible wound of being the strong one all the time. You've been the strong one for so long. No one even asks if you're okay anymore. You've always figured it out, handled it, carried it. You're the one people go to when they fall apart. But when you crack a little, everyone looks away. Because you made it look easy. You made resilience your identity. And now, you feel trapped inside it. You've been holding everyone and everything, except yourself. You don't complain. You minimize your needs. You tolerate things that should have never been yours to tolerate. Because deep down, you believe, if I'm struggling, it means I'm failing. So you stay quiet. You keep showing up. You keep doing what needs to be done, with a smile. But the truth is, you're not fine. You're just functional. And no one sees the cost. They don't see how much energy it takes to keep it all together. They don't see how often you cry in the shower or on the drive home. They don't see how much it hurts to always be the one who knows better, gives more, needs less. Being strong stopped being a choice. It became a job. You've been carrying emotional weight for so long you forgot what it feels like to be held. And now, when someone offers you love, you brace for it. Because you've learned that even affection comes with strings. Even rest comes with guilt. But love isn't supposed to be another thing to manage. Love is supposed to be where you exhale. It's not about being perfect. It's not about holding it all in. It's about being allowed to just be soft, human, and held. You don't want to be saved. You just want someone to sit with you in the mess and not expect you to explain it all. You don't want advice. You want a break. Not from people, from being the strong one all the time. You don't want a shoulder to cry on. You want to stop carrying everything alone. When love becomes more about survival than feeling, you're not asking for grand gestures. You're not waiting for a rom-com moment. You just want peace, consistency, something solid. You're not chasing love anymore. You're chasing a relationship where you can finally stop bracing for impact. Because right now, loving someone feels more like survival. You've lived in cycles, connection, then confusion, warmth, then withdrawal, highs that hit hard, followed by lows that gut you. And your body is tired. What once felt like passion now feels like anxiety. You're not excited. You're on edge, waiting for the moment things fall apart again, just like they always do. But here's what's wild. That emotional roller coaster, it's addictive. Your nervous system has gotten used to the adrenaline, the uncertainty, the maybe. And now anything calm feels foreign, almost boring, almost fake. You've learned to call instability chemistry. You've learned to confuse emotional chaos with depth. But it's not love. It's an emotional addiction. A loop. And your body keeps going back, not because it feels good, but because it feels familiar. You say things like, I just need to feel something. But what you really need is to feel safe, to not have to earn your place, to not have to decode every word, every pause, every silence. You want to stop walking on eggshells. You want to stop performing emotional CPR. You want love to feel like breathing, not like drowning with brief moments of air. But that kind of love only comes when you stop romanticizing the instability. Because love without safety is just anxiety with better branding. The truth is, this was never about love. You thought you were chasing love. But really, you were chasing peace, a place to land, a space to finally stop performing and just be. You never wanted love at any cost. You just wanted to feel like you could finally rest inside it, not be tested, not be judged, not be put on emotional probation every time you had a need. You wanted to love without being punished for feeling too much. You wanted to love without having to explain who you are every time you show emotion. That's not asking for too much. That's asking for safety. Because here's the shift no one tells you about. When you learn the difference between intensity and safety, you start choosing differently. You stop craving the highs and lows. You stop accepting crumbs and calling it connection. You stop confusing "this feels familiar" with "this is good for me." Real love doesn't trigger survival mode. It creates relief. It doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't keep you proving. It doesn't demand that you shrink yourself in order to be held. You don't need more love. You need the kind of love that lets you breathe. If something in you cracked open during this video, subscribe. Seriously, do it now. Not because I want numbers, but because you deserve spaces like this, where what you're feeling actually gets named. Send this to the friend who's always fine, but silently falling apart. Send it to yourself if you need to watch it again. And save it for the next time you forget what love is supposed to feel like. And before you go, let this question sink in. What if what you've been calling love was just your anxious attachment trying to survive another goodbye?